Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for coming to the Academy's Q&A. We're going to be doing this weekly for the next 4 weeks, see how it goes. And my goal for this is to speak clearly, number one, and number two, to find a community of like-minded coaches who want to really crush this profession and to be able to give back to their local communities in a way that nobody else can, not even doctors, not even construction workers. You are literally adding years to these people's lives by telling them to push their chests up and drive their knees out. So I am here to answer any questions that you guys have. I also have Instagram Live going up here. So if you guys want to drop your questions in there or drop your questions in here in the chat, excuse me, I'll do my best to get through them. I do have a list of questions here from my school community. Thank you guys for being members of my school community. If you guys don't know what the school community is, it is a member community of coaches around the world who are just trying to get better. And in that community, we have a 5-phase program that we go through that allows you to have a real system to being a better coach. And so you're not walking into the gym going, I hope today's good. You're walking into the gym going, I know today is going to be good. If you guys see my eyes moving back and forth, I'm just going between you guys and the Instagram live here. So, anyways, if you'd like to know more information about the school program, please let me know. Just shoot me a DM or put in the messages here, and I'll be sure to send you the info on that. You can have a 7-day free trial. And believe me, it's cheap enough that coaches who get paid a CrossFit coach's salary, I mean, you know what I mean by that? You can afford it 100%. What are we talking about today? Today, from our school community, we had questions on protecting your energy as a coach and not getting burnt out, which I love. Connecting with members, members who don't give what's necessary to reap the rewards that they're actually after. You know, they're kind of self-sabotaging. What to do with that, and then how to prep for your level 3. We also had a couple questions in here from last time we did this, and I wanted to bring back up in case you guys didn't hear it. It was things like balancing knowledge versus sharing knowledge and not having it be info overload, which is great. I love that. So basically, how to distill down all of this knowledge in our head in a way that the people in front of us can actually understand. um, how often do you change cues when coaching the same movement every week? I love this. We should have multiple ways of giving the same cue, whether it be verbal, visual, or tactile. Um, and how often would you share the hierarchy of CrossFit to remind athletes about the more important aspects of nutrition and Metcon? So basically, like, when would I, inject the education and the entertainment and the things that are going to fill the gaps in the knowledge that we try to give within that hour class? So again, if you guys have any questions, please drop them in here. But let's start out with protecting your energy. I love this. So I coach on average 15 classes a week, and I've been doing that. You know, there's been periods of time where I didn't have to do that, and we had a bunch of coaches, but on average, I've been doing that for 12 years. And I also am on the level 1 and level 2 staff, and I travel around the country on average 1 to 2 times a month, coaching seminars all weekend long from 7 a.m. until we get home at 9 p.m. And if you want to talk about somebody who understands how to manage your energy, or maybe didn't know how to manage your energy and has learned how to manage their energy, it's this guy. um, Here's what I've learned. When I'm cheerleading, my energy drops really fast. When I'm running around the room and giving a lot of, if you find yourself saying these things, nice. Good job. Let's go. Come on, guys. You'll finish the session, pretty spent because your mind has this understanding that it has a job to do, but it's unclear of what that job is just because we aren't set up for success usually going into the session. So what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean by this is that if we lesson plan leading into the session, what we'll find are certain faults that we're looking for in the movements that day and certain points of performance that are going to lead to better safety and more efficiency within those movements. When I see coaches in classes who stand, watch for a couple of reps, deliver a quick, actionable, directive verbal cue from a good distance away, don't see the results they want, move positions, watch a couple more reps, as long as it's not an injurious thing that's going to happen, it's just maybe an inefficiency. They deliver like a visual cue, something that's along the same lines of what they just gave, but maybe a little bit different. Maybe they see a little change there, and then or maybe they see great change. But the bottom line is that they are systematically like a sniper going from individual to individual, fixing these faults that they had actually already covered in the points of performance in the good specific warm up that they just did. But when I see coaches instead really loud, maybe not loud, depending on your personality, running around the room, great music, everybody's having an awesome time, classes are packed, people are moving like garbage, lots of faults are being missed, lots of opportunities for points of performance to get better are being missed, but everybody's having a damn good time. That's when I usually find that I myself or the coaches that I'm watching are getting exhausted. So my feedback and my suggestion to you guys, if you're somebody that's like, I'm exhausted at the end of these sessions of coaching, whether that's 1 class, 2 class, 3 class, or 15 classes, is to the night before write down the main points of performance of the movement that you're looking for. And if you don't know what those are, go check out the free online level 1 manual. And in there, you will see this. So make sure you guys go check that out. Look at those points of performance. And next to the point of performance, write the fault that could happen. So for example, if we're doing deadlifts and the point of performance is midline stabilization, we want to see that the back stays flat throughout the deadlift. This is my back, in case you were wondering. And the fault of that is that we could see flexion or rounding of the back in that deadlift. I'm going to look for the rounding, but I'm going to tell the athletes how to keep their back flat. Now, throughout the class, I'm going to walk around and systematically look for backs rounding. And if they are, I'm going to fix them in the same ways I got them into the good position in the specific warm-up. So sit down, take some time to write down the movements, go into your level 1 guide, pull out the points of performance, right next to that, the faults, and then what body part are those faults going to show up in? And if you really want to like help yourself out and you're kind of newer and you really are confused, what angle should you stand in order to see that fault happening? So for example, with the rounded back on the deadlift, I'd want to stand on the side of the athlete to see the back going into flexion. I wouldn't want to stand in front of the athlete necessarily, as it may be harder or take longer for me to see that fault happening. And the athlete may get deeper or could injure themselves in that thing. So you got point of performance, the fault, the body part, and where to stand. And if you systematically keep that notebook in front of you, there's nothing wrong with getting one of these little pocket notebooks, you guys, and writing in there your points of performances and your faults and your body parts and where to stand. And as you are sitting in class, you pull it out of your pocket and you go, okay, I'm going to go to this part. And you run over there and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking and you're queuing and you're queuing and you're like, okay, and now I'm going to go to that part. And then you run over and you look and you look. And eventually, guess what? You don't need this thing anymore. But don't be afraid to carry one of those around. And if you feel like you're running out of energy, I really suggest to ask yourself, maybe a good like objective way is like, how many cues did I actually give today? And how many people got better with those cues? So I hope that helps. All right, on to the next question, you guys. Connecting with members. I love this. One of my amazing members, and Crystal, actually, I've done her level 1 and level 2. She's an awesome human being. We interact on Instagram all the time. What's up, homie? I hope you're seeing this. She's like, they just opened their gym recently, actually. And so she's got this opportunity to really build this amazing culture. And she wants to make sure that she's doing it right. But she feels like she's having trouble finding the ways to connect outside of the gym, but inside of the gym, right? And my first suggestion for anybody who is an affiliate owner in this area And this goes for if you're an affiliate owner, but you're not a coach, this will really help your coaches. And it might take a little getting used to it first, but I really suggest you guys do it. If you don't have 15 to 30 minutes between your classes, please add those in. We have 30 minutes between every one of our classes at Coast Range. And here's the reason why. Number one, I want 15 minutes after the class to work with somebody that in the class, maybe I couldn't get to fix as well as I wanted to because my cues just weren't working, or it's going to take a little bit more. Let's say that everybody was moving pretty well, nothing really too bad, or people got to take off and there's somebody hanging around. What does that allow you the opportunity to do for those 15 minutes? It allows you to hang out with somebody. Hey, what's up, Bezod? How you doing, man? How's your family? I heard you went back to Iran. Yeah, okay, great. How was your trip? And you get to build those connections. Now, we put 30 minutes between our classes because we want the next 15 minutes after our coaches spend the first 15 minutes with an athlete, which is required. That's like you have to go sit with somebody, grab somebody, pull off side. You can't just go off on yourself for 30 minutes. The next 15 minutes is for them. That's their opportunity to recharge, which takes us back into our first question about protecting our energy. Are you going class, or do you have a little break in between there to get your batteries back? A 15-minute break is pretty awesome after every single class you do, especially if you're being present during that break and actually taking the time to maybe get outside, see where the sun is in the sky and breathe some fresh air, drink some water, eat some food, do the normal things that you should do that you're telling all your members to do, but you don't because you're too busy, right? Do that. Now, if you aren't the affiliate owner or you're not in charge of that and you can't change that and you are back to back and you're trying to create those connections, well, here's the thing you got to look at is, does your lesson plan allow for a cool down? And most gyms that I see anecdotally don't. They've got too much going on in the 60 minutes. They don't have enough time to cool people down at the end. It's just get them out of here. Next class is filtering in. But if you got time for a cool down at the end, what I really suggest you guys do is take 5 minutes of that cool down after you get the scores and the stuff put away. And I love to just circle up right back in the middle of the gym. This is how we also start our workouts at Coast Range, as we start in a dynamic warm up, a little circle in the middle of the gym. And it's like a great way just to kind of connect and get away from the outside world. And I like to bring them back into that after the class is over and stretch out a little bit and then bam, inject some education. Let's talk about nutrition. Hey, what'd you guys have for breakfast this morning or yesterday? Or what'd you guys do this weekend? Or let's find out about, hey, so-and-so's birthday today. What are you planning on doing? Or this week? Or, hey, here is some education on stretching and why we're doing this. Here's some stuff on nutrition. This is your opportunity also to connect and to find out things as a group. What do you guys like as a group? And would some of these people want to hang out with each other outside of the gym, So think about the way in which your classes are structured. And if you don't have time between the classes, really make sure you try to get a cool down in there. And if you have trouble getting a cool down because your classes are just programming maybe a little bit too much in there, well, then I really suggest you have a sit down conversation with your affiliate owner or send them to me and I'll have a conversation with them. And we'll make it a little bit easier for you to develop as a coach. Oh my God, I just got so nervous. Curtis Bowler just joined. Holy cow. How you doing, sir? Talk about a legend. If you guys want to know who a legend is, follow that man right there, Curtis Bowler, one of the first strongmen of CrossFit and just an amazing human being. Good to see you, sir. Next question, you guys. Members who don't give what is necessary to reap the rewards that they're after. And it seems like you care more than they do. Oh my, hand up. Seems like you care more than they do. That's me, 100%. And you're driving yourself crazy, telling them what to do and telling them what to do and telling them what to do and telling them what to do. And they're just not doing it. And you just don't understand why. Here's what I find. Number one, at the level 2, during the nutrition lecture, we talk about nutrition. I'm going to put air quotes around that. We talk about habit change and how to create habit change. And within that, we talk about the people you surround yourself with. And what I mean by that is a lot of times, anecdotally, I have seen over the last 15 years of doing this, which is crazy to say, um, most people who don't change very much in that time, and I mean physically, like inside there's stuff happening, you guys know, like blood pressure's getting better, resting heart rate might coming down, but they just kind of seem to yo-yo or they kind of stay the same. Look at their tribe. Look at the people in their family, their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, their best friends, the people that they hang around with the most. Do they look like that or even worse, probably? And the answer is probably yes. In there lies most of the time the problem that you have no control over, which should make you feel really good. So what I mean by this is the problem is that you don't want to get, or they don't want to get kicked out of their tribe. So if they start looking different, acting different, being different, eating different, speaking different, the tribe is going to look at them different. And the tribe is going to say, you've changed. We don't like that. What do you think? You're better than us? What? You don't want to eat this food? You think this food? Oh, am I bad? Because that's just a small example, let alone past traumas that may be surrounded by food or exercise or body images, all sorts of things that the bottom line, you have no control over. All you have control over is, excuse me, how much you reach out to them to make sure that they're being held accountable to what they asked you to do, which was to help them get to this goal. What you have provided them is an opportunity to become part of a tribe that cares about eating healthy, cares about fitness, that wants to do it the right way, that are good people, that are just hard working, salt of the earth, get after it. How are we going to change? More hard work, cut the log, carry the water type of people. That was like 400 analogies right there. That was awesome. And when they start to see how awesome it is to be around that tribe, well, what's happening with their other tribe now? They're getting pulled away. And when you're an adult, that's really hard to do and almost impossible most of the time. And in order to stay a part of that tribe, what most of them will do is they will become the most fit of their tribe. So if you look at them and you look at their tribe, I can almost guarantee you that they are probably the fittest out of all their friends, all their family, everybody that they hang out with the most. And their friends are probably giving them a hard time and they're already dealing with that scrutiny and everything enough, and they don't need it from you. That's my honest opinion. They don't need it from you. What they need from you is, hey, hips back and down on the way down. You need to sit back in those heels a little more. Knees out. We got to get a little deeper in that squat. Chest up at the end of the class. Hey, what'd you have for breakfast this morning? Oh, bowl of Fruity Pebbles, orange juice, bagel. All right, sweet. I'm glad you're eating. That's good. How can we make that better tomorrow? And you're injecting these little things like we talked about in the last one, how you connect with members, right? We're injecting these little things in there to help them out and to let them know that no matter what they choose to do outside of the gym, whether that's the things that are necessary to reap the rewards that they're actually after, or it's not, that you will always, always be here to tell them to push their hips back and down to get their weight in their heels and asking them what they were eating. Because as long as you stay consistent in that and they know there's consistency there, they'll either keep coming because they really like that and it's keeping them accountable to be what they are, which is probably a lot better than what they would be if it wasn't for you. Or guess what? They'll leave, and that's fine. That's fine. All right, next question. How to prep for the level 3? Oh my God, I love this question. This question reminds me of the question I heard in a YouTube video called Donnie Schenkel is Bigger Than You. I believe that's the name of it. Go look it up. And there's a moment in there where one of the athletes, and this is at Cal Strength, so in California, just up the street with Dave Spitz, and it used to be with Glenn Penley, and rest in peace. And Glenn Penley was sitting behind the camera, as good Olympic weightlifting coaches do on their chair, with their little tripod and, moving back and forth on checking everybody's form and stuff and giving cues and then, picking up their chair and moving to the side angle and doing the same. And somebody comes up to him and, he's got the video on Donnie and Donnie's just bending bars, around his body as he's doing jerk after jerk. And this guy is just he's what like Donnie Shankle is what like 70s, 60s and 70s and 80s like strongmen looked like. Like he's not like a Greek god at all, but it's like I'm not coming near that guy because he could grab me with two fingers and probably pinch my head like a pimple. You know what I mean? He's so strong. Anyways, I digress. So the kid comes up to Glenn and goes, Glenn, coach, how do I get strong like Donnie? And the coach says, you go back and you get a new mom and dad. And it was a moment where the kid was like, oh, he goes, so you're saying I can't? And he's like laughing. He's like, no, it's just genetics. You know what I mean? For some of us. And so my advice to you to prep to the level 3 is to go back 15 years ago when you started this thing, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, and then back then, start going through the CrossFit Journal, start reading all of the main articles, start looking at the website every single day. Because basically, what I'm telling you is if you haven't been absorbing this stuff for years on a regular basis, diving into the journal, the main articles, what is fitness, what is health, like, all of those things, the level 1 handbook, the level 2, you're not going to pass your level 3, bottom line, because if you see the study material, it's CrossFit. It's like the whole journal, basically. It's like just, yeah, read the whole dang thing, basically. Good luck, and that's the whole point is that it's supposed to be that you are CrossFit. If you are level 3, you are not somebody that is doing this half ass, excuse my language. You are somebody that is immersed in this. You are one level away from what we say is an expert, the coach, the level 4. You're just below that. That's like if you were the freaking president of the company, you're the CEO, or you're right underneath. Like you have the ability to make the most money when it comes to our profession as a level 3 or a level 4 because of your credentials. You were looked at in a way that is like expert, 100%. Listen to this person. They know what they're saying because they didn't take a weekend or a week or 2 weeks to study because they are that thing. And that's what you remember this. That's what you would want as an athlete walking into a jiu-jitsu studio, a dojo, a CrossFit gym, a whatever. You would want that person that's going like, yeah, I am whatever it is in jujitsu that's like the top level coach, right? And you'd be like, yes, that's why I'm here. I'm paying this money. I'm so lucky I got this coach in my town. I'm freaking stoked. I'm going to learn from the best. And then you sit down with them and you're like, man, this guy doesn't seem like he really knows what he's talking about. Like, this doesn't seem right. We can't have that out there. So my suggestion to study for the level 3 is right now, on this day, make a 2-year goal. 2-year goal that in 2 years, I'm going to take the level 3. And starting today, every day, I'm going to read one CrossFit Journal article and I'm going to look at the main site. If you do that, I believe you will pass the level 3. All right. Next question. We're almost done. We're almost out of here, you guys. Balance of having knowledge. Wow. Like you just, want to look stuff up, you want to absorb, you want to take all these courses, you want to do these things versus sharing the knowledge and not having it be info overload. So at the level 2, we talk about effective teaching is your ability to take that knowledge, distill it down into small actionable cues that will get the desired effect. And in CrossFit coaches speak, what that really means is I can deliver anywhere from like 5 to 10 or under words from a distance to somebody and have them go from a poor position, whether that be that their safety is in jeopardy or it be that their efficiency is dropping and their safety will become better or their efficiency will become better. And most of the time, what I see is that people can't deliver that from across the room because they don't have this system. And this is something that I teach in the school thing, you guys. So please, again, hit me up if you want to learn more about that. Um, name, body part, direction, when. Wes, push your knees out on the way down. Got it, right? Todd Widman, one of our mentors on the level 1, level 2 staff, says, do less better. And that is my goal for you in this area of balancing your knowledge versus sharing that knowledge and not having to be an overload, is to ask yourself, how can I say less and how can I have better results? So name, body part, direction, and when. When it comes to visual cueing, you're going to run in front of the athlete and you're going to go, hey, you look like this. When you're catching the bar, I want you to look like this when you're catching the bar. Cool? All right. And then get out of their way. Now, what that's going to do is number one, the first one was a gross example of maybe they looked like this, but I'm like, hey, you look like this. Because I want them to really be able to be like, oh, okay, don't want to look like that. But if you look like this in the demo, they might be like, looks pretty good to me. You know what I mean? If they don't know. So make sure your demo, it doesn't have to be egregious, but it needs to be enough to be like, look, you look crappy. I need you to look like this instead. And then get out of the way and give them a couple reps to try to make that happen. And if that doesn't work, then you're going to come in with the tactile cues where you stop them. Hey, hold on 1 second. I want you to pause at the top with this PVC pipe. They'll grab the PVC pipe. They'll do the rep. They'll pause at the top. You'll go behind them and push their arms into their ears. And they'll be like, oh, God. And you'll be like, yeah, that's where I want you to get to. Oh, okay. And then they're going to come back down and you're going to move. And you're like, okay, pretend I'm still doing that at the top. And they're going to try. And then you're going to be like, oop, almost. You come back over there and you help them out. And then you watch them do it. And they get there. And the second they get there, you go, yes, that's it. Now, here's the cool thing with tactile cues. A tactile cue can be turned into a verbal cue because the person will remember. There's Benny. The person will remember. Look at her go. She's so cute. Sorry, a person will remember that physical feeling in the verbal form. So if I'm across the room, I could be like, hey, Wes, remember my hands on your elbows, push up. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember that feeling. I'm going to go ahead and do that thing. And I just added another verbal cue between me and that specific athlete. I hope that helps. 2 more questions and we're out of here, you guys. Next one, how often do you change cues when coaching the same movements every week? I would say if I'm coaching the same movement week to week to week, look at your variance in your programming first. Excuse me. And make sure that you have enough variance in your programming that you aren't necessarily doing that. But let's say you're targeting something and that does happen. This is where the verbal, the visual, and the tactile cues will actually help you out. So you can obviously there's plenty of resources, YouTube and, the CrossFit Journal, the professional coach. Holy cow, there's so many articles in there of how to cue and different styles of cue and even how to Todd Ochito did a really amazing one about like different drills to do with your coaches, like blindfold them and have them only give tactile cues and stuff. It was like really cool. Like put headphones on and they have to like only give, verbal cues or something. So it just takes away their senses and it makes them really have to hyper focus, which is cool. But I want to honestly not change it too much. I really like the idea of having a consistent, layered, simple progression for movements that week after week, month after month, year after year could be built upon as the athletes progress. So the overall basic progression may stay the same, but it's the nuance in the movements and looking for the faults that may be happening that make it feel different. So for example, if I'm doing the push jerk, I could use the same progression every single time of jump and land hands at side, jump and land hands at shoulder, jump and land hands at shoulder, punching overhead, and then push jerk with the PVC pipe. But while I'm looking for hip extension, while I'm looking for quarter extremity violations, I will be able to put in cues that will help those athletes feel like, oh, this is a brand new session. And also make them feel really comfortable because they know what's coming next. And when you know what's coming next, your body can relax because it's been through it before. And so it's going to naturally, every time, be able to take in more of what the coach is saying, less paying attention to, ooh, what is this new unique thing going to be that the coach is going to do that I'm not sure. So I would say don't change your cues very often. Only change your cues if they don't work. And if they're not working, you got to find a new way to get them to work. All right, last one, and then we're out of here. It's like 30 minutes. This is great. How often would you share the hierarchy of CrossFit to remind athletes about the importance aspects like nutrition and Metcon, which takes us right back to connecting with members and that kind of stuff and interjecting education and those types of things? I love this idea. Pose a little like nugget question at the beginning of class, but ask for no answers. You're just going to put it in their heads. And it could be something like, what do you believe is the best diet to lose the most body fat? Then you just say, I don't want your answers. I just want you to ruminate on that while we're kind of working out. And then during our cool down, if we have time at the end, let's discuss. Then at the end, they come back around and you talk about, well, taking everybody's stuff, sounds good, awesome. Hey, well, let me tell you what we at CrossFit believe. We believe that eating meats and veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, a little bit of starch, and no sugar in levels that support exercise, but not body fat. So it means you're going to have to kind of weigh and measure or eyeball something at some point is the best way to get the best results in the kitchen for us. And we can slowly educate them on what it is that we like to do at CrossFit. Not necessarily that what they're saying is wrong, because just stay away from it, and instead just give them what we believe is right. I think that's the best way to go about it. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this live Q&A. I'm doing this weekly for the next 3 weeks because this is week 1. So 4 weeks of live Q&As. I'm answering all of your CrossFit burning questions. And my goal of this is to create a community of like-minded coaches who just want to get better so that they can in turn make their communities better. So share this with friends, let them know. I'll do it on Instagram Live every time. I'm also doing a recording for my members on the school app. Again, if you guys want to join me and other like-minded coaches on the school app, hit me up, send me a message, and I will be sure to give you a free week worth of that. It's only $39.99 a month to go through the 5 Fave course and to have this community and to have free resources like how to give whiteboard talks. I have a 6-step phase that you guys can print out right now on there that will tell you exactly how to do that. Or like how to rehab an ankle sprain. I just put one of those up there. Tons of free resources, an amazing community, and a 5-phase program that you take yourself self-paced through in order to fill the holes and maybe in your coaching. I love you. Thanks for coming. Whether you're in my school community or you're here on Instagram Live, go check out Curtis Bowler. If you guys didn't, make sure you follow him. Let's blow up the people that we should blow up on social media, right? The ones who are delivering the best information for you. Love you guys. Have a good day. See you next week.